I'm so curious to know the first moment when you and Candice had an interaction.
Oh, an interaction.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then how did that blossom into,
so
creating
I think
a person?
Creating a human. I think the first time we interacted was, again, my dates are all wonky. I'm going to say 2013, 2014, maybe. We interacted at PWG. I think it was All-Star Weekend. Candice was just there with her cousin, and they were visiting the show. I think that was my PWG debut. So like she was in the locker room hanging out, and me and her cousin started talking because I saw her cousin had a Samsung phone. So I kind of slyly started like chatting up with her cousin to get Candice's attention as well. So I was like, "Oh, you have a Samsung phone? I have one too."
I also don't have an iPhone.
Yeah, she hasn't. Candice had an iPhone, so she started being like, "iPhones are so much better." So then that started that interaction where I was like, "No, it's not." So that's when we started kind of interacting with each other. And the first time, and then I brought up a show called Catfish. I'm sure you know the show Catfish.
Yeah.
Candice had never seen it before, so I used that opening to find her on Facebook and send her a link to a Catfish episode.
Oh, this is brilliant.
I know. And then
everyone's taking notes right now.
Yeah,
by the way.
and the other play I did, you can ask Candice about this. So we chat on Facebook and Messenger, and she would say like, why don't you just text me? Here's my number. And she sent me her number, and I was like, oh cool, here's mine back. Because I was like, I don't want to be the first person. I sent you the first Facebook message. It's your turn now. And then she ended up texting me, and
then what was your first date?
Our first date, oh boy! So our first date was actually, it's gonna sound very romantic. You're gonna always take notes on this. Was in LaSalle, Illinois. We were both working for a promotion called Dreamwave at the time, and we both snuck away because we weren't dating yet. We were just talking. We snuck away to a Subway outside of the hotel.
To eat the Triple H meal?
To eat the Triple H meal.
Oh, my God.
Comes full circle. And a funny moment is we were sitting there eating, and we looked out the window, and one of my friends named Trent, who was also on the show, Trent Beretta, Greg, with us, we see him walking from the hotel like he's coming to Subway. And as he gets closer, he's like waving, but then he realizes what he's kind of walking in on. But then by that point, he's too far gone, so he comes and like sits with us. So in reality, our first date was also with Trent Beretta as well. Yeah, he probably doesn't remember that at all, but we do.
So what was the moment? There's always a moment with every couple. What was the moment where you went, oh, like this is a thing? Like I really care about her.
So it's funny because the first time I would always, because Candice used to work at Universal Studios as a baker. So she would have to drive from Riverside to Universal, which is about an hour and a half drive. With traffic and things like that, it could be more. Again, who knows? I have a dad brain right now. It could be way shorter than that. Could be calling me out in the comments. But she would always have to drive. And her hours were so weird to where she'd have to drive at like in the middle of the night to get there for early in the morning.
Sure.
So I would stay up. And then she's on California time. So she's, what, 3 hours?
3 hours behind.
3 hours behind.
Yeah.
So I would have to stay up till like... She would leave at like I think like 1 in the morning, so I'd be like 4
in the morning.
So I would have to stay up all night and talk to her on her drive, and like I'm laying in bed like talking to her, but I'm like it's 4 in the morning, so I'm half falling asleep, and I would do that for a lot of the time when she would drive to work.
Oh wow!
So we did that for a good while, and then she ended up coming to Cleveland and working for AIW.
Yeah.
And we had a singles match there, and that was the first time she met my parents. Was after we wrestled each other. Yeah.
How does that conversation with the parents go?
I think they already kind of knew. They already kind of knew that me and Candice were talking, because then like.
It's like, hey, I just beat up your daughter, and she beat up me.
And I took her to all the. The first time I met her parents was actually in California.
You beat up our son, yeah.
First time I met her parents was actually in California after a PWG show where I think we wrestled as well. So I mean, it's always after we wrestle. And when she came to Cleveland, I did all the tourist stuff. I took her to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I took her to all the spots.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
and
Science Museum.
Oh, yeah.